Welcome to Be a Voice. This is Britt James on USALA Media. Thanks for joining me today. Today I have a really great show. I have a fellow media person sitting here with me and podcaster, and also somebody who does service as well. So the connection with this person, it comes in many different levels. So today I'm sitting here with Kev Nichøls. Hey, Kev, how are you?
Hey, what's up, Britt? Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming in today.
Yeah, no worries.
How's your day been so far?
Well, 95's closed, so there's that.
Yeah.
But it's a Monday, typical Monday, so.
You live close to 95, right?
Yeah, I live in Fishtown.
Have you seen a significant amount of
the traffic's been insane. I've had to come down to the Northeast a lot, and I even seen where the highway was completely taken out. I seen that part, and it's all rubble. It's insane. It's a lot.
It is crazy. I saw a friend of mine flew drone around it, and just to see what was happening was just nuts.
It's crazy. I was even thinking it had to have been such a perfect way to happen for it to happen like that, and it only took out the one part of the highway, and it's just been a mess. Even taking the Uber here was a mess. We had to go through so many side roads, and I felt bad because I was a little late, but it was just nuts. It was a lot.
That's all right, and it's Philly, and I don't know anybody who's on time in Philly.
Exactly.
So that's why if I really want somebody here at 4 o'clock, I'll tell them to be here at 3:30.
Yeah,
exactly.
So yeah.
It works out pretty well. So you're cool. It's all good.
Sweet.
I'm just glad that we could have this conversation. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
I've been following, you and the work you've been doing since we connected. But I know who you are. Tell everybody, who is Kev Nichøls?
It's a great question. So my name's Kev Nichøls, and you may know me as a DJ in the city, the host of the Loft podcast, or the volunteer coordinator at the Grace Project.
So you DJ?
Yes.
How long have you been DJing?
10 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
And this is your profession. This is your career.
Yeah. So I really started to take it seriously, this past year, and it's been just taking off for me. And I've been playing in all the places. It's funny. I was thinking about this yesterday. So I think it was a year, right before COVID. I never really took myself seriously as a DJ. I would do private events. If people knew I was a DJ, I never really actively promoted it. But I started to really push it, and it's just been changing. Everything around me has been changing, and it's there's a bunch of bars in the city where I went out and I gave my business cards to every single one, and all of them told me no. And now I'm playing at all of them now. So it's just interesting that you take a year or two to yourself to really focus on what you want to do and always be persistent, because the Brews, Tradesmen's, Ubon's, Barstools, I'm playing at all of them now, and Noto, and it's just crazy because they all told me no at one point, or they were oh, you got to get your followers up, or you need to get this, you know what I mean, just telling me what I couldn't do. So then I really just stuck with it, pushed it, and now I'm playing at all these places, and I'm it's I feel it's all the hard work starting to pay off, and it's only just starting.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because the word no is something that we all hear. And some people are affected by it. I don't know if it's sensitivity or whatever the case may be, but in doing what you're doing, promoting yourself, because that's really what you're doing.
Exactly.
Hearing no sometimes can be a huge blow to the ego, especially in the craft that you're doing in DJ, because, to be a DJ, you got it or you don't got it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to captivate the crowd. You got to keep them going, keep them moving. You got to have that energy. People don't show up sometimes even for the music. They show up for the name of the person DJing.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed too, is the way you market yourself is huge. And that's why my roommate Bobby comes out and films everything, and we do promo videos for every wedding gig that I have or anything. As long as people actively see you out and see the environment you're creating, they don't necessarily care about what songs you're playing. Maybe the DJs or the hosts of the clubs or anything like that, but the people who come out and see me, they want to see me for the energy and for the vibe that I create. And it's been the most fun year of DJing in my life. It's just been I love it. It's amazing to me. So
they come out to see Kev Nichøls.
Yeah.
They don't really even know what music or what set list you're playing. It's not like you
Yeah.
have that, or they're specifically that's the music I'm coming to dance for.
Yeah. One thing I do is I take requests. I'll listen to every single person, what song they have to say. I won't necessarily play all of them, but
I was gonna ask that.
No, because then at that point you're just a jukebox. But what I'll do is I'll find my own edits of a song that people like. and then I'll just go out and play them. And it's funny because they'll hear the song, but they won't recognize the edit. It's a brand new. It's all brand new to them again. It's like they're relearning the same song again, and that's like what I've been trying to do with like my weddings and like any of the bars I play at too, because it makes it that much more fun. And like it's just, I'll have to show you some videos, but it's just been like, it's awesome.
That is very cool. So what made you get into it? Like, what made you start DJing?
So my cousin, Eric Nichøls, he got me into it. He's been DJing for a long time, and I was 16. I was playing basketball, so like at Ryan, so I couldn't really, like, I couldn't have a 9-to-5 job because I'm like, or I couldn't work like a after school job because I had basketball all the time. So like my weekends were free. So my cousin was like, hey, like, you want to start DJing? Like, I've been doing it for a while. I'll give you some setup stuff. And this is like, when I was 16, I was like, yeah, sure, why not? My first gig actually was this girl on my sister's basketball team. I won't name her, but you'll know in a minute. So it was a Sweet 16 party at like the YMCA or something, and it was my first gig. And my mom took a picture. I'm sure I have the picture somewhere, but my mom took a picture, and like I played, but basically what happened was my equipment was old. It wasn't like great, and also my aux cable broke, so I had to like hold it a certain way, and like I would have to like, and like this, if I didn't hold it a certain way, the audio would like get like break out. Kids are coming up to me asking me to play their SoundCloud music. So I was just like, this is what DJing is? I was like, this is horrible. And on top of that, I didn't even get paid at the end. She didn't pay me at the end. Yeah, so it was rough. So like that was like my first initial intro into DJing, but
I'm just sort of like, my mouth dropped open and she didn't pay you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it wasn't even a lot either, because I didn't know what to charge. Like, it was my first gig, so I didn't know if I was good or not. And then and then after that, I just like, learning from that and then building on that. But yeah, that's how I started. My cousin got me into it, and because I didn't want to work a 9-to-5 job. I wanted to work for myself, make my own hours, and like, I just got into that habit. So that's what I've been doing.
So you went to Archbishop Ryan?
Yes.
And you played basketball?
I did, yeah.
How tall are you?
5'10", but like I'm not. Yeah, exactly. So that I was limited to high school. I played all 4 years. It was good.
I wasn't saying anything.
No, but it was a little bit more challenging, But nah, I was a point guard shooter, so it was fine. But
okay, there you go.
And plus, in the Catholic League, I mean, except a few teams, like a lot of the kids were kind of my height or a little bit bigger, so it wasn't crazy.
5'10" isn't bad, when it comes down to it. I was just giving you crap for that, but yeah, that's cool. So you like basketball?
Yeah.
Still play?
I'm trying to get back into it.
You're in Fishtown. There's courts around.
I know. My buddy Antonio invited me out a few weeks ago, so I went and ran with them, and I realized how out of shape I am. So I'm trying to get back into it. I've actually started doing MMA, so I'm trying to like get myself like physically where I want to be.
Really? Where are you doing the MMA at?
Marquez.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. That's and that's more mind and body.
Exactly.
The body, the mind is really important with that.
Yeah, so I'm really trying to focus on my discipline, and I think that's going to really help me with that.
Yeah, when I was younger, my father sent me to Taekwondo because I was starting to get bullied when I was like in 7th grade,
Yeah.
And I ended up becoming a black belt and stuff like that.
That's
and
awesome.
The discipline was amazing,
Yep.
just totally amazing. And then like my body was in shape, everything like that. The minute I stopped when I went to college, my whole discipline changed everything. Actually, that's when I started to become like big in addiction.
Right.
And so it's cool. I would love to get back into it. I just don't know if my old body can handle that.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth a shot. Take baby steps,
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as you're mentally putting yourself there and physically putting yourself there, then that's half the battle right there.
So how long have you been doing it for?
So I'm actually just starting.
Okay.
Like I'm like fresh into it.
Out of everything you could have done, why MMA?
So my buddy Dan, he has been into it for a while, and I've just seen what it's done to him physically and then mentally as a person, and I enjoy that, like that regimen. I love watching UFC, and like maybe I'll have a fight in 2 years, like that's like a plan of mine, but like I think for now it's just starting and building that routine up, and also like I just want to like improve myself physically, because I know when I work on myself, health wise, it'll change everything else around me already. So I just kind of want to take it to like another level.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I think that's important, to know that like you need to take steps to improve yourself.
Exactly.
People talk about it.
Yep.
All the time, but it's like the actions of doing it. So you have to take those steps, and it is baby steps.
Yeah. I always say if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. That's just how it is for me. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse.
I like it.
That's it. Yeah.
It is true. It definitely is true.
Yeah.
So you've been DJing for 10 years.
Yes.
You are out. You DJ from bars from Northeast to Center City to clubs.
Yeah.
You said Noto, which is...
Yeah, and I make my Atlantic City debut on the 17th, June 17th. So,
AC?
Yeah.
Where at?
Hard Rock.
No way. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate
That's
it.
sick.
Yeah.
That's really sick. Are you stoked or what?
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, it's cool.
Because you were just like, so like, I'd make my own NXT.
It's cool.
You know?
So for me, I just like, I'm just so focused on like this building that like, obviously I always take in every single new opportunity I get, because it's, for me, it's like, I remember where I was 2 years ago or a year ago, and to see like how much changing for me. I like to keep myself level, but at the same time, it is good to acknowledge them. But yeah, I'm excited. Exactly.
And you should be. I mean, let's face it. Like, Atlantic City is a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, Philly's a big deal. When you get and don't take it wrong. Like, to get out of the Northeast and the bars in the Northeast are great, because that's where most people will start. They will.
Yeah.
It's their home.
Yeah.
It's needed. You get a following that way because you develop it. But to go into Center City then, and in some of the clubs you've been in.
Yeah, it's a whole different ballgame. Yeah.
And now you're taking it one step further to Atlantic City, and you're not just like in any casino. You're at Hard Rock.
Yeah.
On a Saturday night.
Yeah.
How'd you get that gig, man?
Just my connections. I'll say that.
There you go. That's all. And that's what I was hoping you were going to say. Your network. It's networking.
It's all it is. I think a lot of it is networking, and a lot of it too is like, I've actually had someone come up to me last night and ask me about like getting gigs and stuff like that, and I just told him straight up, like, it's about meeting the right people, being genuine, and then when you have the opportunity, you take it. And that's what happened with me. And that's why like things are starting to like pick up for me. It's because I've gotten opportunities and I've just been able to like capitalize on them because I was ready for it, you know?
Absolutely. And I agree with that wholeheartedly, because of the simple fact that, like, number one, when people ask me how I got something or where I got it, I'll just say my connections, the networking. It is hard to give up because you don't want to give up your network, because you developed it. You work your ass off to get to where you're at.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not looking for a name, but it's important for people to know that if you aren't grinding and you aren't networking, you're not making those connections, you're only going to stay where you're at.
Exactly.
It's like your wheels spinning in the mud.
Exactly. My connections have completely changed my life, and like with our mutual friend Megan, like that was another one that for me that really changed my life, meeting her, and just because of the relationship I've been able to build with her, it's brought me in, it's introduced me into so many different things, like yourself, and just so many different opportunities, you know. Well,
and it's interesting because when you first came on the scene with the Grace Project, and Megan was on the show already, and we had a good time. Yeah. Because we just have a good time regardless.
Yeah, she's the best. Yeah.
Yeah, she's just she's fun.
Yeah.
And she can roll with it. She's not sensitive, and I love that.
Yeah. She's
she's anything but sensitive. You know?
Right. Exactly.
But she had said to me, you need to meet my friend Kev. You need to meet. He's like volunteer coordinator for Grace Project. He's doing this. He's doing that. He's doing some good things. You two would probably mesh well. And when I did, I was like, yeah, I'm like, what a really good dude. And so while we're talking about it then, so those who watched the show with Meg, they know that she is the founder and, the director of the Grace Project.
Yes.
Which is an organization, nonprofit, just like Philly Unknown. Does a lot of the outreach on the streets. It does a little bit more than that, though, because it does the Hope program and all that.
Yeah.
And you became the volunteer coordinator.
Yes.
How did that happen? How did that meshing come about?
Yeah. So
because you're not in recovery.
I'm not, and I stress that all the time. We spoke at Seneca High School last week, and I stress that to the kids because I understand, and I'll get back to your question, but it's important too, like for people who aren't in recovery. It's like if you want to be involved in that community, it's a hope-based community. It's hope. You know what I'm saying? So like I had my uncle's in recovery, so like that was kind of like what pushed me. But I stress to the kids because I get it. You're going to an auditorium to hear people speak about don't do drugs. Like I get it. Because I was one of those kids. But like to have someone like myself talk to them and be like, listen, like I'm in a different police scene. I'm not in that recovery scene. I am now, but I wasn't. So it's like just for kids to really just listen and understand. But how I got involved with the Grace Project. So it's funny. For my podcast, like I was on episode 5 and I was looking for a guest, and I saw an ad for the Grace Project on Facebook, and I was like, this looks pretty interesting. And like, so I got to find the messages, but I'll show you after. But I DM'd, I think it was Megan, because she was tagged on there. I DM'd her and asked her if she wanted to come on and talk about it, because I thought it was cool. And she was like, yeah, and it was when she first started. So I had her on, I'll probably say, I want to say in like January or February of 2021 maybe. So like around there. So I had her on with her sister, and she told her story, and she said, Kev, like, you should come out to Kennington. And I said, you're out of your mind. I was like, there's no way. I'm like, what? I'm like, I'd go out to Kennington? Like, what? So I sat on it for a little while, and she's like, just come out and volunteer. So I went out, and they would like have like their meeting, and then they would walk out. And then so I showed up for the first time. it's funny as I'm thinking about it now, because I'm starting to remember, like, I showed up and I went out, we were giving out food out of the back of her car, just nothing crazy, just very small outreach. And I thought it was amazing just to like be able to connect with those people and just show them like that, like, hey, like someone cares about you. You may not know me or my name or anything about me, but we're here. And so I thought that was really cool. And then it was around, so I just kept coming out as a volunteer, was just doing my, just doing my due diligence and like, everything. And NBC came out for doing a special on Meg. And so I came out for that as well. And the news came out. I had my photographer Dylan come out and just kind of just help just to get him involved. He didn't even film it. He just came out. And
I was there with that one.
Yeah.
Right on the Avenue. We were right by K&A. Yep.
Yeah. So right around that time I think it was after that outreach, she specifically asked me if I wanted to be volunteer coordinator because I was able to build that trust with her. And because, Megan, she doesn't want to, she used to, it's like a Grace Project's her baby, so she would never hand off responsibilities, but now she's doing a very good job at doing that, and so she trusts me and trusts Madison. But so she asked me to be volunteer coordinator, and I said sure. And so I started taking steps. I started a group chat. We started getting everybody involved. My goal was to make it a family, because that's what I think that's what I perceive it as, and so I wanted to make it a family. So we started the group chat, and then we started getting a lot of volunteer emails, and then so we've been doing that, and it's ever since then. I think it's just been starting to grow, and it's been so nice. And sometimes I take it in because like we look media out all the time, but like I don't care about that. I care more so the fact that like one, it does help our mission, but two, like I'll see starting out from giving food out to the back of her car to having 7 tables, medical on site, and having 20 plus volunteers every single week. And it's been so cool and just humbling to see like where it started and where it's going. And that's just like, that's been like my favorite aspect of it. And obviously helping people and getting them into treatment if they want to. And, it's seeing those moments, seeing people at the moment, there's like a moment where you see that like someone's life is about to change and they know it because you offer them that opportunity. And that's like my favorite aspect of it entirely. But that's what I love about it.
Do you ever think, when you were balling at Ryan, that you would be out in the streets of Kensington giving hope back to people who, potentially you or your classmates back then would have turned their nose up on or probably, made fun of? And I say that because I would have too when I was in high school. I get it because kids are pretty cool about it. Yeah. But you never would have expected that? No,
honestly, no. My goal, I actually thought I was going to be in LA because I was living there in 2018 for an internship through Temple. Okay. And so I was doing that, and I thought it was cool, and I was like, "Oh, this is where I want to be. This is like everything that I want." And so I was out there, had a great time. Was there best 6 months of my life. I came back, finished my senior year. I didn't know money because I wasn't saving up, and so I was like, "You know what? I'm going to save up money and then go." It's funny, my friend Ty, we were supposed to go together, but he went, and I didn't go because I wasn't ready to make the jump, and it was mostly a money thing. But I also just wasn't ready to make the jump because I wasn't sure entirely. And then COVID happened. Everything shut down, and my entire viewpoint changed on it. I was kind of forced to. And so, and then that's when I started the podcast. And then that's when like everything really started to change. And like my mindset on that started to change. I thought I had to be there. And, like I said, then you start meeting people like Meg, and then you start like getting these opportunities through other things like DJing and just even like the pod picking up, and like, you realize that it's all about where you're at, like not where you're supposed to be or where you think you're supposed to be. So,
it's also what you put into it.
Yeah, exactly.
You could be stuck in the middle of Podunk,
exactly,
Iowa, but it's what you put into it, what you're going to get out of it. I had a friend of mine on my show several times. She's an anchor on PHL 17, and
that's awesome.
She talks about like her first job. She, Temple made as well. She talks about her first job was in the middle of like Podunk, Michigan. As a reporter at like $17,000 a year. Yeah. But like, look where she is now. So exactly. Like, it's the grind, man. It's the hustle.
Exactly. And it's not where you start. I learned that too. It's not about where you start. Honestly, the journey has been like my favorite part of it. It's like the journey is most of the time, if not all the time, more important than the destination, because it molds you into who you are for that moment. You know what I mean?
Plus, the destination is impermanent.
Right.
The destination, and if it is permanent, I'm sorry for you.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
If that's as good as you're going to get, then I'm sorry.
Right.
Because you should want to continue on that journey.
Right.
Anna Quinlan is an author from the area, and she gave a speech at Villanova, commencement speech, and she said, just enjoy the journey because the final test comes at the very end.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
and that really put things into perspective for me. So when you say that, it's all about the journey, man.
Yeah.
It's all about it.
Yeah.
And you're on one, man. You DJing, you're DJing weddings, you're DJing clubs, you got your podcast, The Loft, which I want to talk about, of course.
Yeah.
What made you start The Loft? You know, everybody wants to do a podcast. Everybody wants to, you know, get hits on iTunes and stuff like that. So what made you do it?
I think, my journey is definitely a lot different. So I wanted to, so I didn't even know what a podcast was, like, at all. I swear. I never listened to them, anything. And
How do I want to listen to somebody else talk for?
Right, for like an hour or so. Yeah, I was never into it. And then, because I was young, I just listened to music and just did whatever. But, so I made a song for my sister. So I sing and do music. So I'm trying to get back into it now, but it's like it's time consuming and you have to be like in a mode for it. So, we started the podcast in December of 2020. That's when I started it. And so around that time, I made a song, like just a random song, and I showed it to my sister, and she was like, "Hey, can you write me a song?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Like I'll see what I can do." And so it literally happened in like 2 days, which is like crazy because songs take forever to do usually. But like for this one, it just kind of poured out of me because like she asked me to do it. And so I wrote a song for my sister called Free, and it was pretty much about her and everything she struggles with mentally. And like, you know, because obviously it's my twin, I love her to death, and like so I wanted to make sure that she knows that, like, you know, that I care about her. So I wrote the song for her, and it was about like not being free until you love yourself, pretty much. So I wrote about that, and like I said, it poured out of me. I even filmed myself writing it because I just remember like getting super emotional while writing it, and I filmed it just for the video. So the intention was to do the song for her, and then you know, interview her for promotion. So I was gonna interview her and talk about like everything she goes through. And then I told my buddy Nick about it, and he was like, "Oh, it's like a podcast?" And I was like, "I guess." And he was like, "I've never done one. I always wanted to do one." I'm like, "All right, well, I mean, you want to just try it?" He's like, "Yeah, let's do it." So got a bottle of wine, went into my parents' loft, and so we filmed it. And that's why I called it The Loft, because we filmed it in my parents' house. And I had like a TV. You see the first episode, if you go back and look. So I had like a TV with the logo on it that I just made in Canva.
I remember that, actually.
Yeah, it was called "It's Okay to Not Be Okay." And so we had the TV in the back with the logo, and then we had one camera, and I had like a lamp that would shoot up to think that would somehow give it lighting. And then I had one ring light, and it was definitely pieced together, but we made it work. And then the first episode got like 1.5 thousand views, I think. And like I was like, okay, like people were definitely intrigued to see what's happening here. So like, ever since then, I kind of just told myself, hey, I'm going to do episodes every single week. And I didn't really know much about editing or anything like that. So like, so I started having guests on. That's where like Megs comes into play, or like I've had people from, all different kinds of people.
Say it. You've had some good people on it. Go ahead.
I'm just saying in the beginning.
I would like, no, that's what I mean, because that's how you build your following.
Yeah, so I had this girl, Bryn McMahon, on, who's in a wheelchair, tried taking her life when she was younger. I had this girl, Deb, who was working with the Grace Project. She told her story about Kensington. And so I was really curious about like just hearing people's stories. And so from there, I just got more and more curious. And like as it went on, I started to I bought new cameras, or like would try new things out. And then I made my own line of candles, which I stopped doing because it just became so expensive. But it was such a process for me. I'm going to get back into it eventually, but for me, it's just too expensive. And it's a lot expensive for people to do right now, like to buy a $30 candle, which is pretty much what I was having to sell it at. And so I was doing that. And then, so I started that. And then once I had my sister on, that was a great episode. And like ever since then, like it's always a deep discussion about like mental health, and this having different people from different walks of life, relating into one topic, so it's like, I mean, that's how I started it for my sister. And then, like I said, from there, I just decided to have guests on every week, and then I would edit it, put it out. And so I'm at 91 right now. So I'm almost at 100. So I'm excited.
Sick.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm excited. So I don't know what I'm going to do for it yet, but yeah, then that just honestly, it opened doors for me because I just became more curious about stuff. Like I became more curious about like it's different certain people, having them on, like maybe picking their brain about like what got them to this point, and like finding their why. And so that's like the foundation of it. And I've been able to build on top of that. And now I'm just kind of seeing where it goes.
Yeah, I love it. And that's what the best part about it is it's like I say, I even said it to Meg on the show. It's like peeling the layers back and getting, like people know you for you.
Yeah.
For what they know.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And once you peel the layers back and you humanize somebody, and you show who they are.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you have a twin sister, man, and she experiences mental health issues.
Yeah.
And that's a connection, first of all, to have a twin.
Yeah.
And then to have a connection, and you yourself don't experience as great. Everybody experiences, I believe, mental health to an extent, but not as great as her.
Nah. I don't. I mean, everyone struggles with. I struggle with a lot in terms of like just the lack of patience. I actually met with Meg, and I'm actually doing the 12 steps, and not for recovery, but for myself and things that I can fix and focus on myself, because I'm fully aware that I'm not perfect, and like I said, I'm really trying to take myself to the next level mentally, because I know that it'll affect everything around me. Like if I think I'm doing good now, imagine when I'm physically fit, mentally fit, imagine what I'm going to do for that. And like I struggle a lot with like confidence sometimes, and it sounds crazy to say, but I would struggle a lot with that. And so that's like what I'm focusing on now, so I'm just taking those steps, and I'm like more than willing to talk about it, because like I said, I'm always my whole thing is like encourage the conversation, like no matter what. And I'm fully transparent about everything.
And that's because you're telling your story, and you're also having people tell their stories.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you have that gift where you can sit across from somebody and have them tell you their story and share things that they may not share otherwise, that's awesome. Yeah,
and what's funny is that like I had like Quentin Aaron on. He was the actor who played Big Mike from The Blind Side. I had him on, and people like that. But I always say this, and shout out to Rose Young if you do watch this. But it's so funny because the moment I realized that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life and put everything into it is when I had I don't remember what podcast it was. I think it was just a general one. But this woman reached out to me who I just did her daughter's wedding a few weeks ago. But so she recently lost her son to an overdose around Christmas time, probably 2 years ago at this point. And she told my mom that she falls asleep to my podcast. And I just remember like the first time hearing that. And it's like, because when you're editing yourself, you're doing everything yourself, like for everything, for your whole life, like to have someone say that, you sometimes get like, you kind of don't really think it's you doing it. Like, cause like I went and put all this work in editing every single episode, and like you kind of are just so focused on that you don't really sit back and realize what the effect you are having on people. And like I'll have people on who are from not even just crazy big people, like even like normal people, and those episodes would go insane because people want to hear those people's stories. Like I just had this kid Ty on who I used to be best friends with at Temple, and we would have parties together and just go nuts. And then like he got into a lot of trouble and started to really turn his life around, and he was on house arrest for 6 months. And I had him on the episode and like on the podcast, and I put the episode out, and it went insane, like because people want to hear about him, and it's like it's all about like giving people the platform. And so I had someone who talked about recovery, and so Rose said to my mom that she falls asleep to my podcast every night because she just lost her son, and it helps her cope. And to me, like I even get like emotional thinking about it, because like for me it was like that at that moment I was like, wow, I was like, this is like actually doing something, you know what I mean? And like even like when I'm down the shore, I would have some kid be like, oh, you're the kid from the loft or whatever, and then like some woman will come up to me and be like, thank me for doing it, and like how much it means to her, and like, and you don't realize that stuff. And like I said, it's like it's super humbling, and it makes you want to like go even harder at it, you know what I mean? So like it keeps me going with that 100%.
It's interesting you say when you talk about you struggle with confidence and stuff like that, and I do as well, self-esteem, confidence, and but you put me in this situation where it's just me and you. You take away the microphones, whatever the case may be. I can do this,
right?
Because it's just me and you. I'm not thinking about people listening to it. I'm not thinking about that. I just want to talk,
right?
And that's a good thing. But then when you do have people, and you have people say to you, "Hey, I listened to that was so cool," and you're thinking to yourself, "Oh wow, people really do listen."
Right.
And I am making a difference.
Right. Yeah.
That speaks volumes, man.
Yeah.
Don't sell yourself short on that. I mean, and I get the confidence thing and everything, but you're making a difference. You are. I've listened to it. I've watched it evolve over since the day I met you. I've watched it evolve. I watched the presence, and I think you're on the right track for some.
Trying to, man. I mean, it's just a lot of it is just me just wanting to keep my head down and just not get to one way or the other. I try to keep myself even keel, but it is nice to sometimes look back and like reflect on like progress you've made. And I think that goes with anyone like watching or listening, like progress. Like I said, I used to go back and look at my old schedules that I would like post, and it would go from like all the Northeast spots to now like I make my Barstool debut next month. Like it's just crazy, like see how you see it evolve, and then you also do have to give yourself credit and have like the confidence to like where you can, you know, that when you walk into a room, what you have to offer. I think that's what I struggle with, but like I'm working on that actively.
What can you bring to the table? You know,
Right.
And it's funny you say it because I didn't want to say it, but I alluded to it before. That's what I noticed about you when I first met you. All your flyers and all your dates were all Northeast bars, which is great because you're working, you're grinding it, you know, and it's the Northeast. Let's face it.
Yeah.
Nobody from the city says, "Hey, I'm going to party in the Northeast."
Yeah.
It's not one of those. I mean, it's Philly.
Yeah.
The city.
Yeah.
But to take that and now all of a sudden you're looking at, you know, your dates and your calendars, and it's not just the Northeast, it's the city. You're doing tailgates.
Yeah.
At the stadiums.
Yeah, pushing them heavy. Yeah,
You
it's
know,
coming up.
You know, you're making it work. You're making it happen. The first time you heard the word no, how did you feel?
I hear it all the time, but
I know.
You know
the
what?
first time.
Yeah. First time I heard no, I think it definitely. I'm trying to remember a distinct time I heard no, but I mean, it definitely affects you. I mean, hearing no affects you, but like I've been able to change my mind on how I see it now. Like before, it used to just like defeat me. I would even say there's specific times I can remember, but like there was times where I'll be told no, and I used to just kind of crumble from that. But so like I said, my grandma, I said I drop this everywhere I go, every episode I've ever done. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, and it's all about perspective. And the way I perceive being told no now is, okay, we'll watch this. You say impossible, I say, okay, we'll sit back and watch this. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it now. And you know, I just try to channel it as energy to push harder, you know, and just let my actions do the talking instead of like being salty or being like angry or hateful or anything like that. It's just like, for me, being told no is just, it's a check. It's a check myself. When you're told no, it means you need to be better. You need to get better. And like exactly being told no at every bar that I gave my business cards at. I specifically remember going to a bar. I won't name them, but I gave them my business card and they said, you need to get your followers up. And I looked and I'm like, not that it matters, but I looked and I was like, I got more followers than these DJs that are already playing there. But that's not the point. And it's like, I realized, and now I'm saying no to these places. Like, I can't book that night. I can't do that. And it's like, you know what I mean? Cause like, it's just cause what life told me was that I wasn't ready and I wasn't, you know, it wasn't the right time or the right place. And then, like I said, I didn't really start taking myself seriously until this past November. And so when I started doing that, that's when kind of things change. And, you know, being told no, I think is just an opportunity that means you need to grow. There's things you need to work on, because if you're told yes every time, if I was told yes at that time, I would not have done good. I know I wouldn't. And I'm fully aware of that. But now I can walk into any bar and I think I can kill it just because of the experience I had, the being told no, and the people maybe like undermining me or not, you know, giving me the credit that I think I deserve. But it's every time I'm told no, it's just an opportunity that means to be better. Because then at the end of the day, you're just making yourself better, you know, you know what I mean? So I think being told no, everyone needs to be told no, and everyone needs to fail. It's just I look forward to it. And that's why when I'm doing MMA, I know I'm going to be throwing up. It's going to be the hardest, it's going to be like the hardest week of my life, but like, I'm ready for it. Like I'm ready to put myself through it, you know?
That's awesome. As you should be. I mean, it's that thing you prepare yourself for at this point.
Exactly.
You know,
yeah.
no is a word that we're all used to. I mean, and you know, it sucks to hear no, but those people who can take that and harness it and turn it into something positive and drive their force, because I've heard no most of my life.
Right.
You know, no, and it's like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm sick of getting beat up. But that, you know, that time you hear that yes and that door opens up, you know, game on, man.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. And like what I've been trying to tell myself is when life has an opportunity and presents the door for you, kick it down. You know, it's like, because you want to come in and just show, like, you know, who you are and what you've been working towards and, you know, everything like that.
So what'd you go to Temple for?
Media and production.
Okay. So you knew back then you wanted to do something with this.
Yeah. I started in entrepreneurship at the business school, but I was sitting in a classroom and they were like, I just remember sitting. I am not a school person. Like I will fully admit that. I just remember seeing like a bar graph on the wall and some guy talking about it. I'm like, I gotta get out of here. And I walked out of class and I said, Trish, like my mom. I call her Trish sometimes. I was like, it's not like a disrespectful way, but it's like a funny way. So I told my mom, I said, Trish, like, I'm dropping out, whether you like it or not. She's like, Kev, like, no. She's like, how about you sit down and maybe you can switch majors? And I was like, well, I didn't even know you could do that. Like, 'cause I'm just like, I'm not a school person. I don't care.
Right.
I got the diploma for my mom. I got the degree for my mom. But, you know, it still never came in the mail, but whatever. So I changed to media and production, and then that's when I saw the opportunity for the LA program opened up. And then I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to apply to that. And then I got it. And then so that's what kept me in school, honestly. So then, like I said, I came back and then I graduated with a degree in media and production.
That's sick. So you and Trish close?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we are, I would consider me and my mom super close, me and my family super close. Obviously with how much I've been like working and like how much I'm really trying to push myself. I haven't been around as much, but that's just stuff that can be fixed and worked on. Prioritizing your friends more, family more, and important people more. But yeah, I would consider us pretty close.
So what happened in November that was the catalyst that drove this change in you to do this, total change that things just started opening up? Was it the move to Fishtown? Was it you embracing yourself more? Or
yeah, so I think I was already in Fishtown at that point, but I think what happened was before I used to just DJ on a laptop, like, because that's the only thing I ever knew, and I was so uncomfortable trying something new. And my buddy Nine, he DJs for Pauly D, and I had him on my podcast, and he sat and told me, he was like, listen, Kev, like, if you really want to take it to the next level, you need to start like upgrading your music, upgrading your gear. And for me, I was like, oh, like, perfect. So I did research and I invested in 2 new mixers. I got like all this like new music, and this really like started like really take myself seriously, because I knew that I wasn't taking myself seriously.
Right.
And but then, because I didn't realize what I was capable of, and so like I started investing in that, and then that's like around that November time is when the mixer came in, and I started playing on that and been practicing that and getting really good at it. And then and that's when this opportunities opened up for me, and like, and this through the podcast, this networking and meeting the right people, and then giving me those opportunities and just seizing those opportunities. But I say around November is when I took myself seriously and started really investing in myself, because I never was. I was always half in, and I decided to go full in.
That's sick, as you should.
Yeah.
Best investment you make is on yourself.
Exactly. 100%.
Best return you ever get.
100%.
What you put into it. So that's awesome. I love to hear that. So do you have vinyl?
I don't have vinyl.
No?
No, I do. I want to get one of them machines though. No, but I don't play vinyl.
They're called record players,
right?
Those machines.
Exactly. Shows my age. I do want to get. I do want to get a record player though, because I think that aesthetic is cool. But no, I don't do like. I have it's called a Rev 7, and it's like a scratch. It kind of you can scratch like vinyl, but it's not vinyl because it's all on the computer now.
So you've never played in vinyl. You never had that. See, I'm older, so like I love vinyl.
Yeah,
that's what I grew up with.
Right, exactly.
Like I'm just disgusted. My mom just had a yard sale, and we had like one of those old cases of 45s, and it was filled with some amazing 45s.
Yeah.
She sold it for like $5 the whole case. I was like, Ma,
Yeah.
So I love vinyl. I think vinyl is very cool and everything like that. I get very confused with the newer equipment.
A lot of people do,
and
but
stuff like that. This little box with some buttons and music lights, and some people could do it. I'd be like, that's like Simon to me.
Yeah, it's crazy. People will come like, yo, Kev, I don't know how you do any of this. I'm like, you break it down, it's really not that difficult, but you just gotta like put in the work.
It's your passion.
Right.
It's what you enjoy. Gee, so you wrote a song for your sister. You write your own music. You do your own.
Yeah. So I sing and I produce my music.
You sing?
Yeah, I sang it for her. Yeah.
So you wrote and sang the song.
Yeah. It's on like Apple Music and Spotify and all that. So
What's it called?
Free.
By Kev Nichøls.
Yeah, Kev Nichøls. Yeah.
Apple Music and Spotify.
Yeah.
So people can just download it.
Yeah.
It's paid. Do you get some money for this?
Some, but nothing crazy.
That's all right. I'm just saying only because that's nice too. That's a recognition.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it did well. I did a music video for it and everything, and like I said, I haven't put anything out recently just because I've just like really been focusing on like Grace Project, podcast, and DJing. Right. But I'm working on some music now. I want to get back into it and start putting stuff out and like really pushing that too. you know? So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I did not know you sang like that. I did not see this is why I do this.
Right.
I hear your story. How does it feel to have somebody interview you?
It's weird. It's different. I'm so used to being like on the other side of it, so it's nice to not have to worry about like the cameras and the everything. But like everything looks great too in here, so it looks great. Like I said, I always like to learn and pick people's brains about stuff, but it feels nice.
Yeah, I bet. And I know it's difficult too. Some people like want to talk to me. I just want to sort of like take control and ask them questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, they only talk to you, you know,
Yeah.
and I get that.
Well, let me turn it on you then. What do you love?
Jeez.
What do you love about having your own show and interviewing people?
You know, I for me, it's the connections. Once again, it's learning about people. It's being able to, like I said earlier, peel the layers back and get down to really who that person is. Like you right now, like I've known you for as long as I've known you with, you know, Meg and the Grace Project, but not to a point where I was able to peel these layers back where
Right.
you know you sang and stuff. So it's finding out all these things about people that you normally wouldn't know about them because you only see one side. And to me, people are so three-dimensional.
Right.
And you don't see that three-dimensional side of people. It's only a 2D thing. It's like a cardboard cutout. You know,
Yeah.
like this is who I am. I
Right.
am this.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
I enjoy it for that. I enjoy the, you know, humanizing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That's why I do it too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And plus, it's casual. It's fun.
Yeah.
It gives me a connection to somebody a little bit stronger than I had before.
Right. You know what else is interesting too? It's like there's something about two people sitting together having a conversation for an hour or hour and a half, however long, and it's like there's something special about it because they're giving you your time, you're giving them your time. You know, it's like a mutual thing. You know.
And you can really tell when you're connecting with somebody and it's vibing.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Yeah.
And I would say probably, you know, 90% of the time it's a vibe.
Right.
There's some it's a struggle where it's like
yeah.
pulling teeth, or it's like, oh my gosh, why did I get myself into this?
Yeah,
you know?
sometimes you have to ask a few more questions. You're kind of like, all right, let me break it down a little bit, you know.
What's your favorite color?
Right. It takes time. Honestly, relationships are time, and something I've learned too is like how important it is to like own your story too. And I know you have an amazing story. And like for me, when I remember the day I lost my job was in January. I had a job, and I lost it because I wasn't able to meet the requirements, or I wouldn't make meetings. Like I'd be DJing and I'd be waking up the next day late. Like I wasn't able to make meetings, and that's like another reason why I want to get myself physically, mentally back to where I want to be and in my peak form. And like, so I sat myself down. And the morning I lost my job, I sat myself down in my studio and I filmed myself talking for an hour about my life. And I was like, I've had so many people on, and they've all said their stories, but I never told you mine. And I sat and told my entire story, and it killed it. Like it went nuts. And like that's not the important part. The important part is that like people actually like wanted to listen to me, because I never realized that. I'm like, oh, people want to watch for the guests, and like a part of me also realized, oh, you know what, maybe I have a little bit of something too. You know what I mean? So,
Well, it's a gift to be able to sit on this side of the microphone and to talk to somebody. You can have conversation with people. You know, small talk is small talk.
Right, exactly.
And
yeah.
I can't stand small talk.
It's tough. My social battery gets drained very fast now. Like being out and people asking me about like certain things, I'm like it's tough. Like but they're trying to build a relationship with you.
Yeah,
You know?
and then I sort of go back like, did you see what I posted on social media? That's what's going on. You know,
Yeah.
it's hard. It is tough. You know, and you know, it's hard to smile every day.
Yeah.
You know, at it, but you know, it's what you do to build the relationships and make those connections. Once again, connections are so strong.
Right.
To me, I do this for connections.
Right, exactly.
You know, because I'm going to leave here with a connection of some type. You know, whether I leave here and the person and I, you know, have been friends and our friendship is stronger, or we have never met before and now there's that connection there.
Yeah.
Or we may never speak again,
Right.
but we had that time.
Exactly. And
You know, there was an impact.
Yeah. And something I learned too is like that smile may help someone else. You know what I mean? Like that smile you may not want to give may help someone else in their day. You
And
know?
your story can help can help somebody else.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people have gone to college because their parents wanted them to?
A lot of them,
lot
maybe
of
most of them. Yeah.
I wanted to drop out like every year. My dad was like, "What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Pump gas?"
Yep.
'Cause, you know, they pump gas back then.
Yeah.
And nothing wrong with pumping gas, trust me, because
Yeah.
you know, it was one of those. But it's like, I'm not doing what I went to school for. I had that piece of paper. I got it from mom and dad, and
Yeah.
you know, so I get it, and you know, like that. So you know, you do this. You do the DJing. You do the Loft, which is a great podcast. And
Thank you.
You know, we'll get that information out there on screen so people have it.
Yeah, of course.
You do the Grace Project, which you do a really great job with that, because every Thursday night you're out there and you have 20 plus volunteers showing up. You have tables full of clothing, food, everything. You do that. What do you do for you?
Great question. Actually, so for me, when it comes to like stuff that I like to do to like relax, like when I have time, is like I like to just like I'll watch like YouTube. I got people I watch on YouTube. I watch other podcasts. Like I'll like take notes and like, but for me, I mean that's what I honestly been struggling with. Like I really don't like I haven't really been putting my mental health first. I haven't been putting my physical fitness first. I've just been kind of just going about stuff. Like I'll have like my gigs and I'll have all that, but like nothing. I don't really put any physical intentions into it, which is like what I'm working with Meg with right now to do that. It's because I'm really like So the answer to your question, nothing really, and like that's what I'm working on right now. Is like maybe like starting to read a book or like journal. Like I used to journal a lot, and I want to get back into that, and like maybe just take my health better. And that's why, like I said, I'm trying to put myself in these situations where I can, and but yeah, nothing. Honestly, like I said, but that's like what I'm working on for myself. That's like what I'm working so hard with all this other stuff, but like what I need to be doing is putting my mental and physical health first. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Did you get a room out of the gig in Atlantic City? Did you get a free room?
They gave me a room, yeah.
They should give you a room. That should be what you should work on right there. Enjoy your, go do your set and enjoy yourself. Enjoy that. But that's really important. I mean, the MMA is going to be great. You want it for your mental and physical health. It's going to be amazing. But I found that out a long time that if, your job is all you are, that's sad. It's only part of who you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have to find that, man. And that's, and it's good because you're thinking about it and you're learning, and we all do that. And you're throwing yourself into your whole career, which is great, and it's working for you.
Yeah.
What do you like? What did you like to do, or what would you like to do? What's other than the MMA, is there something that really stood out?
About MMA or just in general?
In general,
anything that I would like to do. I definitely would like to go more like probably just be outside more. I think I catch myself in the house a lot, editing and doing all this different stuff. But like I like to be outside more. I definitely want to take trips to Seattle. My parents they got a campground there. Got this new house built there. It's really nice, and like so I want to go up there more. Maybe take some time to myself, go by the lake, and just like do that type of stuff, and just like really take that in, and just like like where the calmness is. Sometimes I like that. It's like it can be chaotic when you're DJing in the city and stuff and all that, but sometimes I like it calm. So I definitely want to focus on that. Maybe more reading and taking more information just about how I can improve myself and get myself where I want to be. And just definitely more relaxing things. Take care, like I said, my body, and like really prioritizing that.
It's funny because everybody that I know is a DJ. Everybody knows in that. They're night owls.
100%. Yep.
Morning does not exist to them.
It doesn't, yeah.
So what would be your wake time usually?
Honestly, I've been getting up early recently, but probably around like 10, 11.
It's really funny too because your text came into me around 10, and it was funny because I was like, I'm gonna wait till 10 o'clock to text them because I sort of knew that. That you wake. So you do a lot of your work at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that darkness is something you're sort of used to too, and you get lost in it. Who are some of your idols in DJing?
In DJing, I mean, there's people I look up to like in the city who I've seen. I respect more so the hustle and like the way they've been like this guy DJ Smooth. He's a guy in the city who he's really been like taking over, and I look up to him in a way because I've seen how he's able to build that community of people who just like really want to support him. I look up to that a lot. In terms of DJing, I mean, I'll listen to I like watching like there's a guy Fred again, Skrillex, and I like watching their sets. I like watching those kind of sets because I think the energy is really cool. Mm-hmm. But I mean, more so, I don't really have any DJs I look up to specifically. I think it's more so just trying to create my own style and like figure myself out. But like in life, I would say like it's gonna sound crazy, but if you know Logan Paul. So he's a very controversial guy. He's done a lot of stuff. But
is Logan the one that filmed the Suicide Forest?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
he's MMA.
He does.
Or is that the brother?
His brother does boxing, but he does. He's kind of a mix of everything. But like the one thing I do respect about him is like how he's able to build things with like all the different stuff he's been doing with his podcast and like his drink he came out with, and like now he's doing WWE. So I look at people like that, and even like, you know, people like him, and off the top of my head I can't really think, because like I said, I really like to just like see like what I can do better, you know. I look up to people who are able to build things that build longevity. That's ultimately what I want to do. And like people I look up to, even like in my personal life, I look up to Meg a lot because I see like where
Don't let her hear that.
No, I know. I mean, I've told her her head's big no matter what, so it don't matter. I could say anything, it don't matter. But
that's why you try to knock her down a few pegs.
We do behind the scenes, but no.
We did it right on camera. You know?
Yeah, no. So like the one thing I do, like I look at people who, anyone who has their own opinion and isn't afraid to voice it, and also anyone who can walk into the room and know who they are. That's what I look up to the most, and anyone who can build longevity. And that's what like people like, you know, like Logan or like Meg. Like it's like a crazy comparison, but like I said, like people who can create and build longevity. There's so many more I can think of off the top of my head, but like I can't think of them right now. But yeah, people who like I said are confident, can walk into a room and like, know who they are. Because I look up to that, and I see that, and I respect that. You know what I mean? So
as you said it, I was repeating it in my head because I really like that. You know, I like people who can walk into a room and know who they are.
Yeah.
That right there speaks volumes. Mm-hmm. You know, because there are people that they're lost when they walk into a room.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you can walk in the room and own it and you know who you are, that speaks volumes.
I was that person in high school, to be honest with you. I didn't fit in with I was the president of my class, and I didn't feel like I fit in.
Really?
I couldn't give you 5 people off the top of my hand who I could tell my deepest, darkest secret to. You know, it's just crazy because I knew I didn't fit in. I knew I was meant for more. I was meant to do things that were outside of where I came from. Mm-hmm. And that's like the biggest thing, like the biggest disconnect I have with a lot of people is like, I understand that, but other people may not. And that's fine. But, you know, so, you know, like I said, like I really had a huge disconnect there. But
it's funny you say it, because I had a huge disconnect in high school, but now that I'm doing the work that I do, they're some of my biggest supporters. Yeah. It's very interesting.
I was actually an interesting story when I first started the podcast. I put out an episode, and this kid sent it into one of his group chats to like, I guess he was like talking about it. And my buddy Matt texted me and let me know, because he was in that group chat. I said, yo, this kid said something about the loft. And I was like, interesting. I was like, all right, that's fine. I was like, if people are sending it out, you're doing me a favor. Like, I put out an episode last week and got over 200 send outs on Instagram. I'm like, I don't care. If people are talking about it, that's all I care about. If people know about it, that's all I care about. At the end of the day, you're supporting me either way.
Well, they say it's when they stop talking about you, got to worry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%.
Good or bad.
Yeah,
let them talk.
Absolutely. Let them. Yeah, exactly. And I'm not afraid to check you either, though. Like, I will. Like, I have done that. Like, so when that happened, I saw that kid at the bar. He tried shaking my hand. I was like, don't shake my hand, bro. I was like, I saw what you did. And he's like, oh, listen, man, like, I actually struggle with a lot of stuff of my own. Like, he was talking about his own mental health stuff. And we had a conversation about it. So I was like, it made me think like, okay, like a lot of times people are struggling with their own thing. And something I learned too is like, anyone who has something bad to say about you, like at the end of the day, you just need to focus on pushing, because it's so hard. That's the hardest part about putting yourself out there, is that you're going to be open to criticism, because that's just a part of the game. And so it's up to you though on how you respond. Like for me in high school, when I first started DJing, I wanted to give myself a name. And I did DJ Kev the First, and it was the worst name ever, and I own that. It was so bad. I don't even think I ever promoted it, but I think maybe one time I promoted it to like get business and like my business cards. And so from then it was like people were like, "What, say stuff about it?" And I'm like, yeah. I mean, looking back on it, I completely get it, because you're 16, you're trying to do something with your life, you're trying to figure yourself out. We're all on this rock together, trying to figure ourselves out, and like you're gonna do stuff like that. So I did that, and then looking back on it now, it's like now I'm where I'm at now, and I'm like, okay, like everyone has those days, and like I used to do like reaction videos on YouTube for about songs, and they would get like crazy views, but like the Northeast would the Northeast would like, because I think about it a lot, so like the Northeast would hate on that, and I'm like, I get it. At the end of the day, I get it, but it's like at the end of the day, like I'm just trying to figure out who I am, and I'm willing to put myself out there to do it. And like now I feel like I'm finding my lane, and I'm throwing enough darts at the wall, and enough of them are sticking, you know. So it's like I'm finding that now and figuring myself out, and now people are starting to come around to that. I feel like, and you know, because they weren't in the beginning, but since I put the work in and I put the consistency in, and I try my best to do it, you know, the right way, you know, people are starting to come around. But you know.
You've played darts in a Northeast bar before, haven't you?
Last night.
Yeah, that's when you said darts at the wall. I'm like, this guy has played darts in a league
night.
Probably.
Played cricket last night. Yeah.
That's awesome. So you enjoy doing that?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, that's fun. You know, I wanted to ask it, you know, because, you know, as a DJ, there's a different there's a certain persona or a certain air that people think that you have.
Yeah.
You know, and there is. You got to. It's a role you play.
You get it all the time.
You got to do that. But you, what you're doing with the Grace Project is so different than anything else you've ever done. You know, you are dealing with people who have substance use disorder, that people have extreme mental health disorders. You're dealing with people who are injecting in front of you, who are overdosing in front of you. How has that changed you?
Oh man, you asked the number one question. It's a lot of times. I think a lot of people will look at me different because they see me DJing, and then they see me doing that, and then they see me doing a mental health podcast, and that's to my own doing. I put myself to a certain standard now because I do all these different things, and it's like when it comes to that, it's like that's the one thing. If I would speak to anyone, like it's affected a few relationships. Like I'm not gonna lie, like the DJing, and then because they see that and they just assume. You know what I mean? Like people like come out to see you play and they just assume that like you're this person when like in reality, the Grace Project I think is who I am at the heart, because I always wanted to do that. I always I always fantasize about like giving back or like doing these gestures for people and like, you know, get in any way I could. And so like now that I'm able to do that, it's like it humbles you for sure, being out there and seeing that. And I always say that like that's like for me it's the most genuine form of like human connection. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like being out there in Kensington and having someone who doesn't know who you are and has nothing to offer you, and you're still giving them whatever they need, and like that's who I think I am as a person. Like that, like it changed me completely, because I went from like thinking because my uncle's in recovery, so like I used to go around thinking that these people were, you know, just like not good people, and then you sit and realize, and they you know, they're saying thank you for everything, they're asking nicely, or you just kind of see the struggle they go through, and then you have to come home and see that as well. And then also on the same thing, like you go out there to see that they're sleeping on these in the park, you know, where I'm out there for 2 hours and I get to come home to my beautiful house. And it's like, you know, so it changed me as a person because it gave me perspective. I think, you know, is the number one thing. It gave me a lot of perspective, and like it showed me that as fast as you can get things, you can lose them instantly. I've seen people out there in Kensington that are my age who I'm like, damn, like I just a kid I went to high school with who was out there one time, and I'm like, you were the coolest kid in school, like what happened to you, you know? And then like, but it just puts everything in perspective, honestly.
Yeah, it's a little humbling, isn't it?
Very humbling. It is. Oh my God, yes, it is. Yes, because the one thing I learned is that the people you see on the way up are the same people you see when you're on the way down. You know, so it's like to every single person, whether it's someone in nightlife who I'm supposed to meet or a connection, or someone who is out in Kensington suffering from this disease, it's like every person I learned deserves the same respect that like I said, it's the most cliche thing in the world, but you treat the CEO the same way you treat the janitor. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? So it's like, because those people, man, out in Kensington.
Treat the janitor better, you get more from him.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Because, dude, 100%. And yeah. I have stories about that too. Mm-hmm. Like, and like I said, but being out there though, like I said, is just my favorite part is the human connection. And I always say to every volunteer or whoever comes out, you always have that moment where it clicks for you. And what I mean by that is when you're helping someone either getting a treatment or whatever, and you get emotional. And like those are those moments. I remember the one time I was helping this older guy out, and he wanted to get in the treatment, and he was like, I was like, yeah, we got you. We'll get you in there. We'll get you a bed. We'll get you whatever. And he was like, wow, like now I'm just so excited because I get to look forward to, you know, going and fishing with my friends again and like stuff like that. And like, and to realize that you're making that kind of impact on someone is like, it changes you. It 100% changes you, and it changes the way you think about things. And then on the other side, you see like I think it was like the following week, there was this other older guy, and I was trying to get him into treatment, and he was like, nah, I mean, this is it for me. And it's like, it's just crazy because you see that contrast. But when you are able to get someone into recovery at that age or anything like that, or even just change someone's life, that's the most rewarding part. You know, and like I said, everyone has that moment where it clicks for them, and like that was the moment that made it click for me.
You know, just so you know, every time you're out there, you're changing people's lives. Right. You know, each and every time, in some way, shape, or form, some little shape or form. So if people wanted to get involved with the Grace Project, you do your outreaches on Thursday nights. Yeah, so usually. What can they do to get a hold of you? Yeah, so outreach is at every Thursday from 6 to 8, and then you can go to teamgraceproject.org. You can fill out the form, and then I will give you a call personally and kind of get more information from you, get you in the group chat, and then we'll get you out to Kensington, and we'll get it going from there. Sick. So they go to the Grace or just Grace Project? Team Grace Project. Teamgraceproject.org. Yes. I think that was on with Meg. We could put that up there. Yeah. And they can fill out the volunteer form for you, and you can get back to them because you can build that with relationship with them, because that's so important. Yeah. And it's really cool to see how it's changed you. It seriously has. And like I enjoy every single phone call I do. I call every single person. Anyone that fills out a form, I give them a call. And that, because it's like, you're not just going out there giving clothes to a clothing bin. You're going out and you're seeing these people firsthand. Yep. So it's important that you understand that we're a family and that you are a part of a family now, you know. That's awesome. Because it's hand to hand, and you got to get that, you know. Exactly. Yep. And so if they want to reach you for DJing, if somebody wants to hire Kev Nichøls, because I'm telling you, you're a hot commodity right now, bro. I've seen your calendar, and I even liked it. I was like, whoa, look at this. This calendar is booked. Which is sick. How do they get a hold of you for that? You can go to www.djkeventertainment.co or djkeventertainment.co. Yeah, or you can follow me on Instagram at Kev_Nichols. Kev_Nichols. Are you on Facebook? Yeah, you can go Kev Nichøls on Facebook. You can reach out to me on Facebook too. Yeah. What do you prefer? Instagram is fine. Instagram is what you got. Whatever works for you. Yeah. Instagram, so it's Kev_Nichols. Yeah. On Instagram. Yeah. And do you have any games coming up you're going to be playing at? Anything like that? Yeah. Actually, I have a tailgate coming up. Phillies tailgate, and then I'm DJing PBR with the Bull after, so that'll be fun. Sick. Yeah, so I got some stuff on there. Yeah, so I'm excited. I'd love to hear that. Yeah, and then if they want to tune into the Loft, they can just go on YouTube and type in Kev Nichøls on there and check it out, and then my Instagram, the Loft Podcast, and it's all interconnected. You'll notice it's all connected. And you're so humble about that if they want to. And the Loft, that's something that they should be checking out. Not if they want to. They should be checking it out. Check it out now. Check it out. Get over there. Yeah. For as short as time you've been doing it, for almost 100th episodes, for what you talk about, for how it's evolved to what it is now, go to the Loft. Check it out on Instagram. It's the Loft Podcast. Is that what you said? Yes. Let them go to check it out. It's amazing. I enjoyed it. I've listened. Trust me, I have. I just think I enjoy listening to your story, because it's a story of success, personal success. You're not probably where you want to be, but you're a lot further than you probably expected you would be. For sure. And in different levels. For sure. What's interesting is a few months before that, the summer before I started the podcast, I had no money to my name. I had no job because of COVID. I was down the shore every weekend, different hotel rooms. I remember I didn't want to be home. I just wanted to be down the shore, and I just drank all the time. And then I was coming home, and then the riots were happening, so they closed the bridge. And my friend hit me up and was like, "Hey, I was about to leave Wildwood to finally go home, and I had a bathing suit, 2 pairs of shorts, and a few t-shirts in a trash bag." And she was like, "Hey, you want to come to Sea Isle?" So I was like, "Yeah." So I went to Sea Isle because the bridge was closed, and I ended up being there for an entire week and just had wine nights and just chilled, and just literally had no responsibilities. So then to go from that to starting the podcast, joining the Grace Project, and then picking up my DJing, it's interesting how quick your life can change. And I always say that your life can completely change in 6 months. I always say that. Absolutely. It could change overnight sometimes. It's what you put into it. What you put into something, you're going to get out of it.
Yeah, and it takes years to be an overnight success. Remember that.
It does. You know, and remember that the success isn't, you know, in your mind. It's, you know.
Yeah. And I'm not where I want to be yet, but I think that where I'm headed is a good direction for sure.
It. Man, I could sit and talk to you for hours because there's so much, and I welcome you back. Actually, I would love to have you come back.
Yeah, that'd be great.
You know, to see how things have been going, you know, in a few months and where it's been going. But
I'm down.
Thank you so much for coming out today.
No worries. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man.
Buddy.
I appreciate it.
And remember, check him out, Kev Nichøls, DJ Kev Nichøls. You can find him on social media. Make sure you follow him. Make sure you watch the Loft podcast. Check out the Grace Project. We had Meg on here. They're doing some great stuff. I appreciate everything that they're doing. Kev, once again, you're amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time today.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Everybody else out there, remember, whatever it is you stand for, be a voice. This is Britt James on USALA Media. Have a great rest of your day.